How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the FireStorm podcast. This is our first episode, technically in line with our sort of new schedule with Final Fantasy X and Mystery Dungeon DX, Rescue Team DX. So, yeah, this is kind of the first podcast in line with that new schedule. So, yeah, we hope you're enjoying.
This is the only thing that is staying on. Well, I guess the video games are staying on the same day, but this is staying on Wednesday, and we moved the other playthrough instead of on Wednesday. We moved it to Monday, so now you guys can get 3 videos a week, which is crazy.
That's
fucking content crazy for you.
I hope you guys appreciate it. So far, you would have seen Final Fantasy X Part 1.
And Mystery Dungeon Part 1.
No, because this is coming out on Wednesday. Mystery Dungeon's coming out after this.
Nope, so... Mystery Dungeon's coming out before that. Mystery Dungeon's
on Tuesday. Yep. Sorry, Monday, Tuesday. Sorry, Mystery Dungeon was first. Yep, Final Fantasy X is after this. That's all good.
Nope, that's also wrong.
That's also
Mystery
wrong?
Mystery Dungeon came out last Friday, and Final Fantasy X Part 1 came out this past Monday.
You're right, so then Mystery Dungeon Part 2 will be out after this.
That's right.
Right. Never mind, I'm an idiot, guys. It's all good. Anyway, we are here today, probably because this is going to be the only proper opportunity we have to talk about this topic, because things have kind of ended up going in a direction no one ever thought. Scott,
it is awfully sudden.
Yes, it's quite sudden. You would already know about it since this happened about a week ago at the time of recording. Like, at the time you're seeing this, it would have happened a week or two ago, because we're recording this around the same day or two after it happened. But
like the next day or the same day.
Yeah, Scott Cawthon, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, has announced his retirement. He is looks like he's no longer going to be heading up the development of the new Five Nights at Freddy's games, which is, I mean, shit.
Yeah, it's a shame to, like, at a surface level, but I mean, if you think about it and you read like what he was saying, like, good for him, you know, like, because he built Five Nights at Freddy's from the ground up, literally, like from literally nothing. So it's kind of like it's a really cool like story, I guess, in that way, that like he had nothing and he was like in his mid-30s just trying to make games for himself and do well, and like he happened to make Five Nights at Freddy's and it happened to do really fucking well. So it just it's kind of a cool story in that way, and it's a shame that, like, you know, almost what's it like 7 years later now almost that he's stepping down from it.
Quote, this is an official release on his website, scottgames.com. The quote is, like, on the 7th anniversary of the game's trailer, the first game's trailer. And as well, quoting that post on his website, which we can see at the moment. Knowing Scott Cawthon, look, it's difficult. This, without a doubt, is most likely true. We know with things in the past, like previous game announcements, and how he's just suddenly released games months in advance, that he can, like, jumble things a little bit, but this is probably a definitive thing. If he all of a sudden dropped a game tomorrow and was just like, pranked, motherfuckers, like, I highly doubt he would be the type of guy to do that. No, because this is a bit severe. But yeah, quote from the post: "Is this the end of FNAF? No, this means someone else will eventually be running the show, someone of my choosing, and someone that I trust." So this is the thing that's interesting with Five Nights at Freddy's. He's still, like, the last of the books in the mini, like, novella series that he's going ahead with. But currently it's looking to be finished soon, this year.
Yes,
and
by the end of this year, I think.
Yeah, so without a doubt, I don't imagine he would hand off that to anyone else. I don't expect him to give up on that. I imagine he would finish that as well. But as well, like, he's retiring from, like, heading up Five Nights at Freddy's. And the thing that does concern me is, like, the previous few games have been also co-developed and, like, released by other publishers and whatnot and developers, which is absolutely fair because they've been big games. And Security Breach also looks like it was co-made with someone else. So the games,
it looks like it was more like, it almost seemed like Scott had like a more of a creative role than anything else. Like he was leading the story rather than the actual development. or like the actual like direction. He was like directing it and like telling other people what to do rather than actually having a major part in the game itself, like programming and that kind of thing.
Which I think is fair enough, and I really hope he takes like. This is the difficult thing because he said he's retiring, but there's still a bunch of other things going on, and like the biggest one. I
imagine the books are actually done. I imagine he's already written them all.
The books, but then the biggest thing is the movie. He is still before this was still talking about all the scripts for the movie. He was fully into that. So I don't know what's going on with the movie. We haven't known what's going on for the movie for years. It was announced like years ago, and then like it's just we've gotten like nothing since then. It's just the movie's in a weird purgatory thing. No one knows. Well, I do think a year ago with the interview he did with Dorco after Dorco completed 50/20 mode on Ultimate Custom Night. I believe he was either there or somewhere else. There was a mention that he had been through like 7 or 8 different scripts for the movie, and he kept changing ideas and kept changing the way he wanted it to go. And so in that case, like it sounds like from there, it was either that or a Steam post update. I believe there was one referencing the movies, but like. It sounded like he was still fully invested into making the movie the best thing it could be, which I hope he still at least has a major part to play in the movie. Despite obviously he's not going to be doing everything. Like he's not a director. He's not. He's at this point in time for a movie, he would be the writer. He would just be the lead writer. Yeah. So hopefully he sticks with that at least, and because
I
otherwise
imagine he will, because he's probably already come this far with it. I doubt he would give that up at this point, you know?
Yeah, and also, it also, to quote the thing from his website, Scott Games, it does also say, like, he's got 6 kids now, so he's got a lot of things to worry about, primarily 6 of them, and 7 including his, I'm assuming, wife or partner.
I'd hope so.
And, yeah, and, to quote it as well, I only ask that my fan base respect my decision. I will still be around, just not in the capacity that I used to be. So that does give me hope, at least for the movie side of things. Also, at this point in time, because of the whole thing with the other website, FNAF World, and how there's often been times where ScottGames.com and FNAFWorld.com have had different things going on. I checked FNAFWorld.com, and it is a complete black screen. I don't know how long it's been like that for, but yeah, so that website has no information either. But yeah, so Scott Cawthon is retiring, which, wow, that's
to
incredible.
An extent.
It's to an extent. He's taking a step back, which is completely understandable. He's been doing this for 7 years, and
he's had an absolute shit fan base on his ass about literally everything. So honestly,
oh my God.
I can't even blame the man. Like completely disregarding what has happened in the past few days. Like even since like FNAF 3 or FNAF 4, the fan base has just been completely like just impatient and entitled, and just they just want what they want, and they don't want what Scott wants, even though he's the one that's making the games. So Scott cannot win, and I think he's finally conceded defeat. He fought for 7 years and has finally conceded defeat to the shitty fan base. So honestly, like, I am impressed he fought for that long.
I do think the fan base has a big part to play. I don't know if this is necessarily him conceding defeat. I do feel like with where this, at least the quote-unquote story is, from what we've had to gather from the games, and not including all the fucking like theories and all that shit. Like the actual what we've been presented, like the way that and so far with the games, like shit is going way beyond anyone could ever imagine with these games, and it's like from a game designing standpoint, it just looks like it's just going in a direction that he might not be able to manage properly on top of being a father of 6. Like, it honestly does just feel like there's just way too much on his plate at the minute, and he doesn't feel like he can... Like again, I can't quote him from... I can't assume what he's thinking, but it looks like he's just not able to handle so much expectations at the same time while having so much responsibility elsewhere, and he's just going to hand the reins over to a team that can do it, or a person even, because he hasn't necessarily said one person or a team yet. He's going to choose someone or some people, but yeah. The fan base though. There are a large number of the fan base which is just considerate and will accept and theorize and be happy with what they get. And there are like parts of the fan base I have seen which, are very well and critical in a constructive way. Because I do remember like a few people like during the Let's Plays would be like, you know what, especially for FNAF 3 would be like, you know what, wasn't as scary, but still an interesting game, an interesting choice, a selection of way to things, like area for places, the thing. What the fuck am I even speaking? I can't even speak English properly. But like from that, he took that constructive criticism from like FNAF 3 and all that, and made FNAF 4. But there is without a doubt a huge part of the fan base, which you are right, is entitled and is just fucking not happy with like... they don't have to be happy with everything they're given, but they're not happy to the point of fucking like lambasting him and ripping apart the story and all that. And it's just like, dude, it's if you just don't like it, don't play the games. Don't
at Pokemon fans.
It's just like exactly like if you don't like it, if you play the game and you don't like it. That's
if
fair
someone
enough.
brings up the fucking tree from Sword and Shield one more time, I'm going to lose my mind. Like it's oh my god. But yeah, like in Scott's defense, right? Like Five Nights at Freddy's as an entity has absolutely 7 years after its like starting has absolutely moved beyond the point, and I think Scott realized this, like where one person could be working on it. It's grown too big of an entity. It's too large of a force in the indie game world. And just in general, like, you know, we've moved past that point where we want to see games that one guy can come up with. You know, because when you boil down a lot of the Five Nights at Freddy's games, they are scary as hell. But really, they're simple. Like, they're incredibly simple at their core. Like, when you... like, it probably would not be that hard to program a game like Five Nights at Freddy's if you knew what you were doing. Like, then that's why I think FNAF clones are so widely like created and accepted, like fan games and stuff, because it's easy to make them. But now Five Nights at Freddy's is just so big and so large of a story and an entity that it's moved past the point where it can only be made by one guy. Like Security Breach is a perfect example of that. Like even the FNAF VR stuff, like obviously Scott didn't do that all by itself. And FNAF VR game was fucking awesome. Like it was really good, and I think Security Breach is, with the way it's looking, going to be really, really cool as well. So as long as like there is a good team working on the projects and someone who knows what they're doing leading the story and the writing, then I think FNAF is still in good hands. And I think it's better for Scott to actually just step away for a bit and, you know, fucking raise his family. It's like absolutely good on the man. Like, because he chose a really good time. Like, from the sounds of his writing in his retirement note, in his will, or whatever you want to call it. He like it sounded like he was probably considering this for a while. Like, the man's well off enough, surely. Like, despite how much he gives and how much he gives back to charities and the fans, like, the man is almost certainly well off, just based on how well the first 4 FNAF games he made entirely by himself sold. And now, like, I go into Walmart and I see fucking Five Nights at Freddy's on the shelves for Switch, the Five Nights at Freddy's collection. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, I remember when this game was, you could buy this game only for $5 on Steam, you know? Like,
that's the incredible thing. Like, he started from such a small, humble place in regards to just making random games he liked, and then just throwing a ball down a hallway, deciding, fuck it, I'm gonna try and make a horror game, and made FNAF. And considering the amount of games he's released for cheap or for free, or re-released for free, like FNAF World, and then, like, the amount of things he's done to give back as well, taking all that into consideration, like, he's given so much back, he's given so much away for free, and like, a lot of the games he has released have been cheap. But despite all that, because of the popularity of it, and because of the game selling well, because of all the merch now, because of the books, and because of the shirts and the figurines and all that, he has definitely, like, got more. I reckon, seeing him and how, like, humble he is, he's probably got more money than he knows what to do with. He's just like, what the fuck do I do now? Like, that's the thing I love. Like, it really does seem like there was a while you could think maybe, oh, he's just making these really quickly as like a cash grab type thing, but honestly, no, it does look like he's put a lot of labor and love into every single game, and it's just turned out really well for him. It's incredible to see. Now, all this considering, we do have to I felt like it would be necessary to quickly bring up we'll talk about this briefly if you don't already know. I'm sure you do if you're listening to this, either on Spotify or YouTube. But there was a brief amount of controversy surrounding Scott Cawthon, as it was revealed barely a week ago at the time of recording this that Scott Cawthon had donated money to, in some people's opinions, the most anti-LGBTQIA plus conservatives in America. That's quote from the Twitter post I'm looking at. So, like, and a lot of them apparently also very up Donald Trump. Like, but that's nothing to consider. Like, that's not even a thing. But, like, he's donated money to politicians he believes in, and it just so happens those politicians are very anti-LGBTQ and all that sort of thing. He did follow that up with a post on Reddit, because it kind of blew up Reddit as well, because it's Reddit. Yeah, he admitted there, like, he has been lucky to avoid massive controversy, because it's just, he said, I'd like to think that the last 7 years would have given me the benefit of the doubt in regards to how I try to treat people, but I was there trending on Twitter for being a homophobe, getting doxxed, with people threatening to come to my house. And there might be other details. There might be other details involved. I don't know if it's just the donating to politicians. There might be more. But it does follow up with, for those, quote, for those who took the time to look, you saw that the candidates I supported included men, women, white people, black people, Republicans, and Democrats. I supported Kimberly Kallick in Baltimore because I believed that she really cared for the African American community there and wanted to pull them out of poverty. She unfortunately lost, and I supported Tulsi Gabbard, a Democrat, even though I disagreed with her on several issues, because I felt she would have been good and fair president. And yes, I supported President Trump because I felt he was the best man to fuel a strong economy and stand up to America's enemies abroad, of which there are many. And it goes on
That's
to talk
fair.
about... Yeah.
Honestly,
and you
if
know
there's
what?
one thing Trump can do, it's yell at people from other countries. So you know what? Good. Like,
you know
he's
what?
not wrong.
No, he's not wrong. The fact is, like, it doesn't matter who you support, like it being Trump or Biden or whatever. He has he's done his research, he's looked into his own sources, and he's come up with his own opinion, and that was his opinion. And because of that, everyone fucking is dogging on him now.
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's not right.
As the American of the podcast, I'm going to speak definitively on this, and if any of you threaten to come to my house, I'll welcome you and punch you all in the face. So, we talked about this briefly in an episode of Pokemon that will come out far in the future, like a few months from now. But I addressed this, and it's... So what Scott's done here is basic American politics. He's done his responsibility as an American. He's researched the topics of interest in the country right now, and he's come up with his opinion on it, exactly like you said. He's come up with his opinion based on his research and his findings. And what he's donating to, he's using like the money that he got from his humble beginnings, like his own, like what he's made for himself, to support who he believes in. And that is American politics at its most basic, at its most fundamental level. Maybe to a higher extent, because not all of us are as rich as Scott Cawthon. But
I love the point you made in that Pokemon video, because also the quote this: "I'm a Republican, I'm a Christian, I'm pro-life, I believe in God." And all that, and when I mentioned that in the Pokemon video, you said something which just perfectly captured that. He's literally living out the American dream.
He is. Right, so that's what I was about to say. So he's literally, quite literally, the picture perfect, he's a perfect picture of the American dream. I'm sure everybody has at least heard of the American dream. It's basically, you take a risk. You throw everything away, you put everything else to the side, and you chase your dreams, basically. And you make something, you make up a product, you use your creativity to come up with a product, whatever that may be, that people will buy. And obviously, in this world of like the internet, of like, you could even say that, you know, something like me making my music is in that same vein, right? That's what Scott is doing, or what he has done. Like he threw everything to the side. He made a game, which is a very popular medium of entertainment nowadays, that blew up and did really well for himself. And all of a sudden, he has this huge empire of indie video games that he built from the ground up by himself, using his own resources and his humble beginnings. Like, he did well for himself based on his own hard work and that kind of thing. So that's the American dream, right? And a lot of people who are older and do well for themselves in that way tend to be Republican. That's just research, like scientifically, like just if you look at any polls, like that's those people like in that age range, and the people who are like have done well for themselves, they tend to be that kind, like Republican. They tend to identify Republican. And one thing about this generation that we need to change, like as a whole, is that we, a lot of us are going to identify as Democrats, right? That are like people who support LGBTQ, people who are anti-Trump in general, like they're going to identify as Democrat, which is theoretically the opposite of Republican, though it's really not. There really is. There's not really much opposites. It's more like a weird maze of politics, but I don't really want to get into that, of course. It's like we need to stop thinking that everyone who thinks differently from us is our enemy, is automatically a horrible person. And because as soon as we hear something or see something from somebody that we may think is good, but then all of a sudden we see one thing from them that we don't like, or we just overreact to, we just all of a sudden assume that person is a piece of shit. Like, that's, for some reason, we just jump immediately to that conclusion. We overreact.
It's terrible.
And we just fucking I don't know, threaten to find him and kill him in his sleep or whatever it is, dox him, or I don't know, like whatever people were doing after that happened. Like, we need to stop assuming those people are our enemies. We need to, like, because they're not. It's just a person that thinks differently from us, or that was raised in a different environment. Like, a lot of how you think depends on the family you spend a lot of time growing up around, how you know, that kind of thing. When you were an impressionable kid, like how you were raised. So if you're raised in a different environment where your family is very Christian and LGBTQ is not a normal part of your life, like you may like experience that for the first time at like an older age where you're very set in your ways and kind of think it's weird or unusual. Like that, like we need to just stop assuming those people are just pieces of shit and like be able to hold a reasonable debate without yelling and overreacting to literally everything. It's really bad. Like, we're not going to progress if we can't hear out other people.
This almost feels like the perfect example of that because of how severe... Like, honestly, reading through this Reddit thread...
Off. My feet got hot.
That your feet got so hot debating that. Like, just reading through this Reddit post, it honestly does appear that this all literally stemmed from someone finding out that he donated money to some politicians.
Right.
Honestly, and from that, people have tried to dox him, call him a homophobe, and threaten to come to his house. And
what?
Like,
it's ridiculous. That's another absurd, you guys. Like,
I know, and another quote from that. What the fuck's wrong with people? Another quote from that is, "My wife is 6 weeks pregnant, and she spent last night in fear because of what was being said online. She has already been struggling with her pregnancy, so seeing her so afraid really scared me." And like, dude, this is just fucking ridiculous. The one thing I do appreciate is that he said at the end, "If I get cancelled, then I get cancelled. I don't do this for the money anymore. I do it because I enjoy it. If people think I'm doing more harm than good now, then maybe it's better that I get cancelled and retire." Note that was like a day or two before he actually announced his retirement. So yeah, this shit does seem awfully coincidental at least. But dude, like, I 100% agree. Look, even I'm fully happy to admit, like, there's not a lot of, honestly, like, I'm more than happy to admit, like, at least in Australia, I would prefer to vote for Labour over than Liberal, which I know you won't understand that, Gus, but,
I have no idea.
Then that's fine. At least if you're from Australia, you would know that both, honestly, it's like this in any democracy. There are going to be two different governing bodies, and you got to support one or the other. Like, or you can support both, but you know, your vote, you can only choose one at the top. It doesn't matter. Like, I think that just changing all your views on someone because of their political views is fucking dumb.
It's very unfair.
It is complete horse shit, and it is ridiculous. And, like, look, you're right. What you said before, maybe Scott Cawthon has also, on top of this, reached the point where he feels like he can no longer provide or, like, make the games by himself that he thinks will live up to expectations, or maybe he won't be able to just craft everything by himself, so he needs more people to help him. I do believe that is probably a huge part of it, because that just makes a lot of sense with where his games and the books are at. But all this on top of that is fucking ridiculous. Just because he donated money to a politician he wanted to support doesn't mean he's a homophobe. It doesn't mean he hates the LGBT community. It just means he's a guy with a political view, which literally everyone is nowadays.
Right.
Like, everyone's got an opinion one way or the other. Just because he goes one way doesn't mean he hates everyone on the other side, which apparently is what everyone else is assuming.
Yes.
Just he supports Trump. He must be racist. He must be a homophobe. He must hate everyone that's not white. No, you dickhead. That's not how it works.
It's really not. It's... See, even the non-American knows that you guys are fucking stupid. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, come on.
And to relate it back to what I was saying about the Australian thing, like, I support Labor because I believe a lot of liberal government policies and handling of situations like COVID and whatnot are greatly mishandled and all that. There's this whole thing going on right now in Australia about how Friendly Jordy's YouTuber I've talked about before, comedian and political, like he gives a lot of personal political opinions that are well researched. His I believe advisor or editor or someone like that, someone who worked with him, was just arrested by an anti-terrorist organization disguised as normal people because that he was so happened to be in the same place as a politician that was trying to sue them. And he was arrested by an anti-terrorist organization. Like, that is just fucking ridiculous. And like that's one of the many reasons I don't support the Liberal Party. But that's besides the point. I know people that vote Liberal. I don't hate them. I think, yeah, maybe they have misguided views, but that's fine. That's the way they are. I can talk to them, maybe try and be like, you know what, this is my view, but I respect yours. You know, if that's your view and you don't want to change your mind, that is completely fair. That's you. I'm still going to hang out with you. You're still a good dude. Yeah. Just because you have a political opinion doesn't mean I'm going to hate you.
Yeah, like, it's very unfair to to judge people entirely based on how they think politically. Like, and especially someone who has like proved themselves to be an incredibly generous and like personable guy, like Scott Cawthon. Like, he's a dude with a family, like a wife and kids, a lot of kids. There's no way he's a shitty dude. Like, no way. Like, no matter what he does, like, there's no way he's a piece of shit. Like,
the only way I reckon our opinions on this are going to change is if it's like revealed tomorrow that he's a pedophile or something fucking terrible. That's the only way that we're not going to believe he's a good dude.
Yeah.
Considering the amount he's given back, the amount he's donated, the amount he's like tried, he's created a community, not only like a toxic part of it, like, which is unfortunate, which is what happens with most communities, but he's created a community and he's
stupid.
Yeah, a lot of people are stupid, but he's given so much back to people, which, like, you cannot look at the way he's gone about his 7-year career involved with FNAF and not think that he's a good dude.
Right. Like, have you seen those things he's done on Matt Pat's charity streams? Like, he makes a whole game just for Matt to play and uncover, like, and you know, Mark and whoever else is on there to like play and he'll donate however much they find in the game. Like, he didn't have to do that. Like, he could have just been like, even then he didn't even have to donate at all, but he even went through the trouble to make a game for them to play, and he probably didn't even, like, knowing Scott, I didn't like watch the whole thing or anything, but like knowing Scott, he probably ignored whatever they found and just donated everything that was possible anyway, just because he could. Like, that's like just how cool and how chill he is about everything. Like, he's a guy that, you know, at heart maybe doesn't understand all of internet culture, but he's tried to blend in and you know, talk with his fans and just be really cool. And so many people have just completely thrown that out and rejected him just for like him doing his basic American responsibility of supporting politicians that he believes in. Like, it's unbelievable. So
it's fuck.
You guys, who, if any of you motherfuckers are watching this video and want to come to my house, I will literally give you my address.
I will give you Gus's address.
Like, please come to my house, ring my doorbell, and tell me about, like, I don't care. I will beat the crap out of you. Like, come on. Come on, just do it. I swear.
We will We will have a civil conversation about politics, and then I'll fight you.
I'll skip the civil conversation. I'll just go ahead and beat the shit out of you. I don't even care. Like, straight up. Like, maybe that's not a good thing to say, but I've got some pent-up frustration.
Gus has lived at like 4 different locations in the past few years, so you're gonna have fun finding him. Have fun with that motherfucker.
I'm gonna send you like 4 addresses. You're gonna have to come to all 4 of them to find me. And once you find me, if you for some reason happen to get it on your first try, congratulations, you're getting a punch to the jaw. Yeah. So anyway, stop overreacting. That's it.
Yeah, please.
Stop being a fucking baby.
We're done. Exactly. I think we're done with the controversy side of things.
Right.
Now, let's move forward. One thing I did want to bring up, which I think is incredible, is not only the rapid growth of FNAF, but like I see Scott Cawthon in a lot of the same ways as, say, a creator like Toby Fox, who started off from really small beginnings and then now at like the top of video games, because like Undertale went from such an underground thing to now being promoted on the Switch, and same with Five Nights at Freddy's. It started off as such an underground thing, and now the newest game is being promoted alongside the biggest games on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah,
like that's fucking incredible scenes
for sure.
It's just amazing to see indie developers come up from such. Like, come up from such a down low place, like, develop a small little indie game. A few years later, they're being promoted alongside the PS5. Like, what the fuck? That is incredible stuff.
Yeah, totally. And you know what? I remember being there from the very beginning of everything. Like, I remember seeing Mark's video in my subscription, Mark's very first Five Nights at Freddy's video in my sub box the day it came out. And, I didn't watch a whole lot of Mark's videos. Like, I watched his Drunk Minecraft at the time because I thought it was funny. It still kind of is, because being drunk is just funny. But
I missed that series.
Right.
I miss it.
So, but yeah, I like literally since day one and you know what? At that age, I was 15. God, I was terrified. You know what? Like, when that first, I can't get this out of my head. Like, just following Five Nights at Freddy's since the beginning has been such a really cool experience. It's just been awesome. Like, before I get to the jump scares and everything, like, just following it since the beginning, like, I remember that it was such, looking back on it, like, it's such a cool feeling that I had, like, right around, when I heard, the developer's making a second one, or like, they try, and then, because when Five Nights at Freddy's 1 came out, it was like, there's some weird mysteries in here, but then it started to get deeper into the story with the death minigames in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and I was like, holy crap, there's some weird shit going down. It was starting to blow my mind, and then, because, like, Five Nights at Freddy's 2, that was, like, peak, like, when I was super into Five Nights at Freddy's, just because, like, there was a lot of ambiguity to it, because you just didn't really know what was happening. Like, you kind of had to interpret everything for yourself. And then when MatPat's theory about Five Nights at Freddy's 2 came out, it all started to like click in everybody's heads. Because he really did a great job. Like, that might be his best Five Nights at Freddy's like theory video, just from an objective standpoint. Like, he did what everyone else was trying to do. Like,
the first one?
The second one. The second one.
Oh, okay, the second one, yeah.
Yes. So that might be his best one, just because he did what everyone else was trying to do. He interpreted everything that was going on and gave some sort of semblance to the story, which we were all trying to figure out. Like, no one could really get it until he kind of made all the pieces click in our heads. That was like, around then, that was just really cool, like a really cool time to be a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, like from the first one into the second one, and then it started to get out of hand.
Yeah.
But just because Five Nights at Freddy's 3 was like immediately broken, like people were talking, like people hacked into the game and started talking about fucking good versus bad endings like two minutes after a game was released. But like, just I remember Mark's first video, like when that Foxy jump scare hit, like, it was like, even because that's the least scary jump scare in that whole game is the Foxy one, and like, because he just kind of leans in and is like, ah! But
just peers around the corner.
Yeah, exactly. But like seeing him run down the hallway after you saw like nothing move, like basically it's just a like 15-minute video of still pictures and Mark freaking the hell out, like that. It's I will never forget it. Like it was such a like that was the moment you knew. Like when because I didn't play a lot of the FNAF games until a few years later because I was fucking terrified of them. But like that was the moment you knew that this was going to be a cool thing, and because that video was the main thing that brought about FNAF's huge popularity. That's what absolutely blew up Mark's first video, and like man, like that was crazy. So just being there like the whole time Five Nights at Freddy's has grown from that, charming, terrifying little indie game to an empire of fucking crazy shit has been nothing short of fucking awesome. Like it's just been incredible to see how fast it's grown. And you know what? Like it's just so, I don't know, like I don't even know what else to say. Like it's just really cool to have followed that and been on, like, kind of experienced that journey and seen everything that it's gone through. Because obviously the story itself is at a point where the only person on the planet who is really following it is Matthew Patrick. But
fucking hell, his brain.
Yeah, like he's the only one that really knows what's going on, I'm convinced. But he, like, out of 7 billion people on planet Earth, he's the only one that knows what's going on.
I mean, we've never seen Matt Pat and Scott Cawthon in the same room at the same time, so you never know.
Exactly. So, but I mean, I still watch Matt every time Matt releases a FNAF theory. I watch it because, like,
same.
Because, like, it's just cool to, like, see, because I don't read the fucking books. I actually bought one for my Kindle, one of the Fazbear Frights or whatever they're called. God, it was boring.
I tried to read the first Silver Eyes book, and I just remember, like, it started off with, like, Foxy or Freddy in a fucking like arcade or something, and some chick got like stuck under an arcade machine, and I'm just like, like I'll admit I got bored fairly quickly.
Yeah, but I can't remember which one of the Fazbear Frights ones I got, but it might have been Bunny Call, but it was God, it was boring. But man, like just trying to keep up with everything is kind of like an interesting challenge, because like sometimes when I watch the theories, Matt will say these things like, "Oh yeah, I vaguely remember that. Maybe I think I know what he's talking about." Just because you like watched that other theory. There's some other really cool times I remember, like Sister Location. That was really cool because around Sister Location you could almost kind of piece everything together again, because we kind of lost it around FNAF 4. FNAF 3 was good too. That kind of like had some kind of like almost conclusivity to it, but it was like around Sister Location when we started learning like the the Afton daughter and all that shit. Like that was a pretty cool time as well, like because like when you were starting to piece that whole thing together with the hidden mini game and the daughter being baby, like that was cool. But just like the story is fucking crazy. I don't even want to try to comprehend everything, but no, it's just cool. Like I don't know, it's for me interesting.
Yeah, definitely. For me, Five Nights at Freddy's, I legitimately cannot remember how exactly I got into it. It definitely started, again, like with a mixture of Markiplier's original videos and Matt Pat's original theory on the first game, which I thought was really cool. I might have been a few years late to the party. I do, however, remember, I believe it was in year 10, so this would be 2015. I believe that's when I properly started getting into it. 2015, because my friend Kyle he bought FNAF 1 and had it on his laptop. And all I remember was us trying to play it at school. And he was too chicken to play it, and he tried to get me to play it. So I tried, And I remember I got jump scared by Foxy, and I was just like, nah, fuck this. Nah. I'm not fucking doing this. Fuck that. But the thing is, like, I didn't even have headphones in or anything. We were playing it out loud, and it's just like, shit, this is freaky. And I remember, then I remember seeing Markiplier's videos on it, because I was in and out of YouTube. 2015 is when I really got into it properly. So, well, that's when I started my channel, even, I believe. So it was just like, I properly got into it then, and yeah, along with all the content that and the people I subscribed to and all that, yeah, FNAF was just kind of there. I watched all of Markiplier's videos on it, and I just thought, oh, this is really cool. I liked a lot of, and then I've watched every single game theory multiple times over. Like, it's just really engaging and really interesting.
Yeah, and just the way it's always changing as well. Like, it's never like the same kind of thing. The story is like evolving all the time. So it keeps you engaged.
It's really cool. It's really cool. Like, I've tried to play, and that's the thing though, like, it's really weird. With horror games, for me, I'm really hit or miss with when I try to play them. I like horror games with a proper narrative and plot. That's why the only horror games I've genuinely completed are Slender the Arrival and Five Nights at Freddy's Sister Location. They're the only ones I've actually completed. Mm-hmm. Because, like, FNAF 1, I tried to play it, and I want some intrigue to go along with the scariness. Whereas, with most of the FNAF games, the early ones at least, it's just scary shit, unless you look a little bit deeper. But for me, it was just like, I'm surrounded, I cannot move, there's just a lot of scary fucking noises right now, and it's just like, it really was atmospheric, all of them are.
Oh, totally.
And it's just like, and it's almost like I'm sitting there, and like, I remember I tried to play Pizzeria Simulator, and
that game, oh man, just... Oh,
yeah.
That trying to do that one,
fun.
like the actual fucking game, like the scary part of that is nuts.
Dude, the first night when there's no animatronics and you literally just gotta complete everything on the computer, I got up to that, and like I think what happens is that, like, I get involved and I'm there. Even though Pizzeria Simulator did kind of have a story in a way, like when I'm there, surrounded by all the shit, all these noises are happening, even though I know there's no animatronics around, I'm still internally scared. And I reckon it's like this thing in my brain that goes, why are you putting yourself through this? There's nothing to hook you in and keep you interested. You're just going to be scared. Why are you putting yourself through this? Like, that's what happened to me when I tried to play FNAF 1. Because I was just like, what's the point? Why are you doing this? But Sister Location, because there was actually a story, and you had to talk to Baby, and you had to like go through and do all these little tasks, and then do the scary shit, I got intrigued. So I was interested in it. And like Slender the Arrival, there's an actual plot there at a time. Like, I never completed Slender the 8 pages, but I completed the Arrival, and like, because there was an actual plot to it. Mm-hmm. So, well, that's one thing. Whereas FNAF the games, I've never been able to properly play them, because for me, it's always like, I'm too fucking chicken. I'll admit that. I could perhaps, you know what? I've even thought about, what if I try to play it on the Switch? What if I try to play it on a TV where the audio is not directly in my ears, and I kind of like approach it like a challenge? Because that's the other thing. The atmospheric audio, like sounds, atmosphere. That's why I love music so much, because it always gives me the good feelings in my brain, but the scary noises give me the scary feeling in my brain, to put it in very simplistic terms.
In terms I can understand. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So if I played it out, like if I played it on the TV, like with my Switch controller, and approached it like a fucking challenge, I might actually be able to give the FNAF games a proper shot. Now, especially because they're all on the Switch, like all the original 4. So like I could try that, but I reckon I'd still be too scared. So
you know what? Like, I remember
I'm a pussy.
What? I was probably 15 or 16 when I got FNAF 1 for the first time. That was... Yeah, I was too scared. I remember getting jump scared by Bonnie on night 2 or 3. And I was just like, all right, that's it. I'm done. I can't play this anymore. Like, I literally couldn't sleep properly that night. Like, it was so bad.
All I remember from Foxy. Sorry, I have to say this. All I remember from Foxy, because Kyle recorded me playing it. And all I remember, I was just looking at the cameras, because I was on a laptop. I didn't have a mouse, so it was a bitch. And then I just remember looking up, seeing Foxy running, and it's just like, what the fuck, he's running! And then I dropped the camera, boom, and like, he's fucking running!
He's fucking running!
My eyes, like, popped out of my head, like, he's fucking running! Oh my god.
I remember being so mad when I got jump scared by Bonnie that one time, just because I remember seeing him in, like, the janitor's closet or whatever it is, and then he, like, next thing I knew, he was jump scaring my ass, and I was like, what the fuck, how did he get there? But like, that was after that, I don't even know if I played FNAF 1 since then, but you definitely have to approach the early ones as a challenge. I've never beat the only ones I think I haven't beaten are FNAF 4 and Pizza Simulator.
That you have or haven't?
I have not beaten Pizza Simulator, and I've not beaten FNAF 4, and I haven't beaten FNAF 1, though I know I could now. I'm definitely not as susceptible, I feel like, anymore, although I've yet to test that theory. But I have beaten FNAF 2, and I have beaten FNAF 3.
Cool.
Those ones I found to be more like fun challenges, because you have to approach them as a challenge. And I was like, I was definitely into it at the time, like just being able to conquer my fear, I guess. I remember I think I even did them on the gaming channel that I had. They might still be up, but it was, I remember what I did was I had like headphones on that had Five Nights at Freddy's, the audio playing, and I had my fucking, like, my jam out playlist going through my earbuds, which were under my headphones. So I had earbuds in and headphones going at the same time, just because I was trying to conquer my fear and would do anything to make that less scary for me, because it is very much, when you don't have anything like that, you do get immersed thanks to the atmospheric nature of it. And you get really into it, and then all of a sudden you get your ass jump scared and you're just terrified for the rest of the night. But it's fun, like, especially those first games where they're really simple. Like FNAF 1, 2, and 3, I think, are the ones that are just straight up fun if you let them be. Because they're definitely a challenge thing. FNAF 4 would just terrify me. Like, I already know. Like, because there's so many sounds, like when you do the breathing thing, there's so many sounds that could be breathing, but maybe it's not, and then if you fuck up, you're just screwed. And then you have to keep track of a lot of things all at once. And there's no way around that either, because, like, FNAF 2 had 10 things or whatever it was, but even that was manageable, because you didn't even have to look at all the 10 things. You just had to look at the vents, the front of you, and the fucking music box. That was all you had to do. You could just be boiled down to that. So that was why FNAF 2 was pretty manageable. FNAF 3 was probably a little more challenging overall, because it actually depended more on skill and not just like, you actually had to kind of know what was going on, rather than just in FNAF 2 you could just kind of look and throw the mask on whenever you had to. You just had to get kind of lucky, I guess. But yeah, FNAF 3 you kind of had to know what was going on, because if you lost track of Springtrap, you had to know, or at least be able to guess where he was going to, and work from that. So
see, I feel like I could approach FNAF 3. I feel like
FNAF 3 is definitely the least scary. It's
because
good.
At least with me, I was saying before about like my that fear, like it's just like, I'm putting myself through this. Why am I doing this? But like, I feel like after the first few times of getting scared, I'd probably get used to it.
Yeah.
So I feel like FNAF 3 could be something I could tackle. And when you mentioned Five Nights videos on your old channel, I found them.
Yep, they're definitely there.
There's Five Nights at Fuck Boys 2 as well.
Oh, Five Nights at Fuck Boys. Yes, dude. Those are we have to play those. We're doing Five Nights at Fuck Boys 3. we're playing Five Nights at Fuck Boys 3. That has to be a thing. I never finished that one. We have to play Five Nights at Fuck Boys 3.
Is that a thing?
Oh my god, yeah, it is. The first
They made a third one.
Yeah, they did. Five Nights at Fuckboys 3 is awesome. We have to play that
sick.
one. I finished the first two on my channel, but I never finished the third one.
All right,
We'll
sure.
do it. So expect that later this year or something. We're definitely gonna do that. Yeah, Five Nights at Fuckboys is awesome, but I just think it's hilarious. It's just so much dry humor.
No, I love it. I searched it up and I just found it on Game Jolt,
Yep.
and like game includes not Freddy, Foxy masturbating again.
Yep.
It's just like
It's exactly our type of humor as well. It's so good.
I'm down for that.
Yeah,
I'm down for that.
I definitely need to redeem myself because I got like 2 episodes into Five Nights at Fuckboys 3 or something like that and just never finished it. So I have to redeem myself. But
yeah.
So we'll do that.
Actually, something I wanted to quickly bring up as well, which I forgot. The other thing with hopefully Scott, he said he's gonna still be around, but in a lesser capacity. But he is mostly retiring. The thing as well, I hope he still has a good part to play in. Is the what is it called? The Fazbear franchise initiative. The thing where he's like
Fazbear
supporting.
Something like that.
Yes, like yeah, the thing where he's supporting developers that are making like kind of spin-offs of his games, because like I know there's so many. Like I'm gonna look it up, like Fazbear I think it's called franchise initiative or something like that, but I know the one thing he was doing, like some of the games he was supporting were really good games. He pardon me, were played by like Markiplier. A lot of the good fan games, like Joy of Creation, I believe was one of them, and Five Nights at Candy's, I think as well.
Yeah,
maybe that one.
I think they're doing a One Night at Flumpty's 3 as well.
Yeah, just so many good like fan games, which he created it. Yeah, the Fazbear Fanverse Initiative. That's what it's called. But yeah, Five Nights at Candy's 4, The Joy of Creation Ignited Collection, Pop Goes Evergreen, One Night at Flumpty's 3, Five Nights at Freddy's Plus, which is a remake / reimagining of the first game. So like, I really hope he still has a good role to play in that. Without a doubt, I know he would still be managing all of it, considering like FNAF is his creation.
Well, that's actually the thing. Like, I don't think he actually has that big of a role in it. I think he's funding it. So I think what he's doing is actually just funding it, so that because he doesn't want to interfere with what the fan creators are doing. You know, like he doesn't want to put his own 2 cents into that. He wants to just let them be able to continue doing what they were doing because it's a really cool thing.
Oh yeah, literally on the wiki, on the wiki, sorry. As far as Cawthon's involvement, he said he is simply funding everything and letting the creators work on their projects and interact with the community as large as they normally would. Alright, fair enough, that's good. I'm glad. I just hope because at least with the movie and all that, again, I hope he still has proper involvement with that, like he's still the lead writer or whatnot. I'm just hoping that whatever's made in the future, considering the next few games, because I know bloody a Security Breach was announced a while ago, so I don't doubt he would have still had a huge role to play in that one. But any future games, if there are any future games, I'm hoping they don't stray too far from Scott's original plans.
Right, yeah.
I'm like, or at least I hope if Security Breach is the last one, or maybe a game afterwards is the last one, and that's it. Because I don't feel like I mean, I get why development of a game, he can't do it by himself now, considering how big and ambitious they are. Like, he would need a team to help. Mm-hmm. But in regards to, like, future games where he doesn't have as much involvement with anything, I don't think that would be good. I really hope whatever's left, he still has somewhat of an involvement with, and he can at least end it, or even if he leaves it at a cliffhanger and doesn't touch it again, that's fine. I'm just hoping that whatever is released and made regarding FNAF in the future, he still at least has a say. Because, like, all good for him for retiring and wanting to move past it and, like, look after his family. I respect him for that. I just hope that whatever's made in the future, he at least has a say in it.
I imagine that he will. I don't think... The thing is, I think there's going to be... I don't think FNAF is going to end anytime soon, to be honest. He mentioned in his retiring note, his will, I'm going to call it his will because I like that. In his will, he said he's going to hand the reins over to someone or some people that he trusts. And that, to me, says FNAF is continuing, led by the hands of someone that he knows will do well for it. So... That is also fine. I imagine they'll probably still run the final product through him or something to that extent. But as far as the actual, like, you know, the direction of future FNAF games, it's going to be likely in the hands of somebody else.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
I forgot about that part. Yeah. I forgot about that part, but yeah.
So that's what I imagine will happen regarding that. So, but even so, like, that is not necessarily a bad thing, because Five Nights at Freddy's, like, ending it soon would definitely be a waste. Like, it has more potential, and I feel like, especially with where it's going, I think, you know, it becoming a little more, you know, realistic with, I say realistic, but like people jumping into people's brains or whatever the fuck is happening at this point. Like, I kind of like where it's going. Like, I like the creative shift they've taken with the story in recent games. So I think there's a lot of potential with that. So I think if they run with it, there's definitely some cool things they could explore, like some cool avenues they could go down with the story and games and how it's designed. And I think Security Breach is part one of that, you know? Like, it's open world or whatever. Like, you know, you're going to have the whole 80s style mall to kind of roam around. And, you know, we don't even know if these animatronics are good or bad yet. There's a lot of theorizing that the animatronics you see are actually there to help you hide from the killer Vanny. So...
Yeah, because I remember that, what was it, the Funko... No, not the Funko... Yeah, maybe the Funko. It was like a statue or something released with the kid hiding in the Freddy thing while Vanny, the rabbit, was there with a knife. So it's just like, oh yeah, it might be so. The animatronics are good this time around, and the people are bad because they're possessed by the...
Honestly, I really want... I can't wait for Security Breach, but... And that's mostly because I want to live in an 80s style mall. I just want to live there. So I'm just going to play that. I'm going to play Security Breach just for that. But it also seems really cool. Like, it's definitely a new experience for FNAF as a whole. You know, just the whole open world thing. That in itself is intriguing enough for me to get the game. But also, like at least where I am now, not being as much of a chicken, part of me, like, wants that thrill, like, because I'm definitely going to watch Markiplier's videos whenever he makes them, but I want to also experience the games for myself now. Like, I want to jump into the unknown without really knowing what's going on, because every single FNAF game I've played, I already kind of knew the whole gist of it because I'd seen Markiplier's videos and other people play them. But I want to jump into Security Breach without knowing what the hell is going on. And I think that would be really cool, especially just given the whole, like, what we know about the game so far, that it's open world and you can kind of wander around and all that kind of thing. So it'll probably have the same essence of FNAF, but the world is expanded, which is really cool because that kind of was how it was in Sister Location, but only to a very limited extent because it was still just made by Scott, and you know, he only really brought in voice actors for that one, and you know, you couldn't really do all that much. You know, it wasn't really free roaming like this one is going to be. So that's what's really intriguing about Security Breach. So I am definitely excited for that. I just want to, I don't know, like I want like the thrill, the intrigue, the unknown of it. it is a lot of like, you know, just because we don't really know anything. We only know a very small amount of information about the game as a whole. So it's going to be really cool, though, I think. Because I think at this point, it's still definitely going to have Scott's mark on it, because assuming that it's still, you know, far along in its development, we can assume that Scott has like kind of led that project for like thus far. So
yeah,
I think it's reasonable to assume that it'll still feel kind of like a Scott game, but it'll just be bigger, and that's what's I think is going to be really cool. So I'm definitely ready for that. That'll be really cool, I think.
Yeah, the future will be interesting. Without a doubt, I'm still going to watch Markiplier's videos on it because I just love the guy in general. I think he's awesome. And Matt Pat's theories, because like a lot of his theories, at least like the past 10, 20, however many, have been all essentially focused on the books, which is completely fair.
That's all the new content we've been getting. So
I know. I like watching them, not only because it's just like, oh, this is an interesting story, but it's just like just interesting ideas and whatnot. I get a lot from them. I really do enjoy them, and also feel like, I don't know if Markiplier is taking a step away from that sort of thing, because like obviously I'm surprised he didn't, but like Dorco completed 50-20 mode when before Mark kept saying he has completed all the challenges before, and it's just like he realized after like the seventh live stream, he's just like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to do this, which is completely fair. I don't doubt that he won't play them. I just love I love that fucking Markiplier's canon, the fucking AR game. I thought that was funny. But
that's fantastic.
Yeah,
you know what, that Ultimate Custom Night is a beast all to its own thing, but because I feel like, you know, Mark had done really well for himself up to that point, because he, you know, kind of like what I was saying, like he kind of jumped into the unknown without really knowing what to do. Like for the most part, he developed his own strategies when he was doing 50 or, you know, the 2020 modes, whatever. And, you know, the community had to kind of come together to figure out a working strategy for 50-20 mode. And even that probably didn't work except for like 1/1000th of the time, you know? Like, it's not a foolproof strategy. You know, like 50-20 mode is a huge beast, and no one man can conquer it. But so it doesn't really surprise me that he kind of gave up. Like Markiplier, I'm sure, is a very busy man. Like no one can be fucked unless you're getting hella money, or like the only thing that's popular on your channel is FNAF, Dawko. But like no one can be.
I mean, he had an initiative to do it with an interview with Scott on the line, so I don't blame him for that.
So he had, like, he was gonna get it done. You know, I'm sure he was streaming and people were donating. Like, fair enough. And he probably is more interactive with the Five Nights at Freddy's community as a whole than Mark is, because that's really like. That's where Dawko is like done the most crap. Like he's one of the most, probably the most like involved, you know, big name in Five Nights at Freddy's as a whole. Like that man knows fucking everything. So like that would be the one thing. Like I remember taking a crack at Ultimate Custom Night, and my God, it's fun, but God, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So literally. Yeah, jeez. And that was a really cool theory too. The fucking the missing child, or the demon child. What, the demon child? Vengeful spirit.
The vengeful spirit.
Yeah, that was a really cool theory. That has been that, and the Golden Freddy scene when you beat 50-20 mode, the one of him kind of sitting there twitching. Those two, the picture of the little girl and the cutscene of Golden Freddy, those are the two most recent things in FNAF to actually give me the creeps. Like those actually made me shudder in a, like, they genuinely creeped me out. Like they're not like scary, they're like jump scary, but they're just creepy. Like they actually like made me feel like scared, like creeped out. Because it's just like it's creepy looking. And So those are.
I love all the theories around it because even going back to the first ever FNAF theory that MatPat did, trying to relate the animatronics to the actual real life, like, killing of 5 people in a restaurant, like, actually drawing comparisons between that, like, all the way from that to Ultimate Custom Night being William Afton's Hell, like, and everything about that sort of theory. And you're right, the two things, like, as of late, that, like, I just watched and made me shudder, or, like, genuinely be like, oh my god, like, was, the, Golden Freddy twitching. Also because, like, the music as well,
right.
It just sounded so sad. And it was just like, oh my god, this is terrifying.
Yeah.
And the other thing that got me was the pizzeria simulator.
Oh,
the mini game.
Pizza Party.
The mini game. No, was it Pizza Party?
The very end.
It was the one with the little girl.
The one where you get killed by purple guy.
No, it was the one where you're the little girl playing the arcade machine, and when you get to the third round, and it's nothing but dead dogs
Pizzeria
you're picking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's that fucking car alarm that goes off until you complete it, and then there's Golden Body standing behind the girl.
I just looked behind me to make sure.
Freaked me out. That, like, just that car alarm, and then seeing Golden Bonnie behind the crying girl, that freaked me
actually,
the fuck out.
I thought, for some reason, I thought you were talking about VR. FNAF VR Pizza Party, that was creepy too. Like, that's, like, and I think that's one of the most, probably the most, like, moment of, like, genuine horror that, and not just, like, jump scare horror that FNAF has to offer. Pizza Party is the one where you kind of wander around this, like, nightmare fever dream in the VR game. It's the thing at the very end once you complete everything else. And you kind of wander around. And at the very end...
Are the arrows pointing you?
What were you going to say?
Are the arrows, like, pointing you to a room or something?
Something along those lines. There's a lot of arrows that are like, what's your favorite flavor of cake? Or what's, when's your birthday? Or whatever the fuck. And you kind of pick the rooms to go into, and eventually you, assuming you follow all the instructions, you end up in this room, which is like the backstage area, or, whatever, the safe room, whatever you want to call it. And a glitch trap kind of appears from behind the curtain, leads you, beckons you back in, and you follow him. And then all of a sudden, the game ends, and you see the credits roll, but your perspective is from stuffed inside of Freddy. So you're the missing child. Who has been lured back by a purple guy, or whoever you want to call him, because it's not really William Afton at that point. Like, it's kind of like a recreation more than anything. Of you're a child that was lured to the back of a Five Nights at Freddy's and got murdered and stuffed into a suit. That gave me the creeps. That was freaky. So well done on that one. That's a really freaky experience. I don't have a VR thing or anything like that, but I remember watching Markiplier do it, and that was like, that's freaky. So
no, definitely
that's another thing. Like, and I think there's something to be said for that VR game. Like, that I think it might be the most. It's definitely the most robust, but, like, just in general, like, one of the strongest Five Nights at Freddy's experiences, like, overall, especially with the DLC added to it. Like, it's just, you can go through those first 3 FNAF games. Obviously, it would be kind of hard to recreate 4 in VR. They still, like, do some little mini games in the bedroom setting. But I feel like if you had the VR thing, like, you would be fucking terrified. Like, that, I feel like that would be a really cool, like, way to experience, especially if you had never played a FNAF game before and you jumped into that VR thing. That would be insane. Like, so, and I think the VR game looks really good. It's just really, I feel like it's just a really strong way to experience FNAF, like, especially in a new way, but just overall, like, there's so much so much game there, and it has its own like lore to it as well. Like he could have so easily, Scott just as a whole, like in the team, it could have just so easily just recreated those FNAF little mini games in the first 3 FNAF games in VR and been done with it. But they added its own lore with the glitch trap and the tapes and all that other shit. Like, there's something to be said for that. Like, that's really cool.
And how meta it got with being like, oh yeah, no, all the games from before, they were all recreations and fabrications of a deranged lunatic. And it's just like, this isn't real, so now we're playing with that. Like, look, this is now real life. And, now we're just remaking those games for fun. And then that entire thing had its own lore about it. Like, fuck me. That was...
Yeah.
Oh my god, it goes way over my head. I wasn't as scared from the whole glitch trap thing, because there's something to be said about VR in... Like, I'm sure when you're actually playing VR and you, like... witness everything happen right in front of your eyes, of course you're going to be freaked out. But when I'm watching someone like Markiplier play VR, it doesn't scare me as much because of how, because you're moving like a person. But that's why, like, when you're moving and looking with like arrow keys or the mouse, and you like, when I'm not in control of it, I don't get as scared. But when it's just like someone actually like moving their head about, and you see their bobbing head and the little controllers, and then there's just glitch trap right in front of you, like, that doesn't scare me. But it was a creepy ass motherfucking scenario with glitch trap, the entire thing. Like him slowly getting closer every time you complete a thing, and until he's like right behind you, like, hello.
Yeah. That taking over thing was such an interesting concept as well. Like the way he, like, that was a really cool idea, and I think they're kind of running with it now. But like the way that the virus like takes over your brain and becomes your consciousness, like it's a really interesting direction for the games. So there's a lot of body snatching in the Five Nights at, or whatever, the fucking Fazbear Frights books. There's a lot of body snatching. So that's just a weird and creepy kind of thing. Like, because it's so hard to imagine like you're losing consciousness to some other entity taking over your body. Like, it's so weird and gives me the shivers. But it's I think it's like a really interesting like idea. Like, again, it's the thing about the VR game. Like, they didn't have to do all that, and then they did. It was a way to like jumpstart. It was like the launch pad for this new era of FNAF games, which is really cool. So like they used the old games to jumpstart the new era of FNAF. It's just really like almost poetic in that way. But I mean, shit. Like, what else do I say? Fucking, like, you know what? And this is present in the VR game, but just Scott's sense of humor, like coming out in games like Pizzeria Simulator and that kind of thing. Like, I feel like I just appreciate that he doesn't take a lot of things too seriously. And I think that's kind of part of how chill he is, like when the whole controversy went down, he's been really chill about it. I loved the idea of Pizzeria Simulator just because it was so ridiculous, and you could do all this dumb shit, and do your own thing, but at its core, it was still a scary, scary fucking experience. There was still FNAF-esque things happening. It was like, he's just...
My favorite thing was literally those fucking, the intro screen where it's just like, oh, you're gonna run your own franchise, all those fucking slides and those pictures are so funny. Like, the cheese is so real! Like, the fuck... Wow. Like, fuck me. His sense of humor is genuinely good. And then, like, it also... I think that started with, like, at least with Sister Location with the voice acting. And, like, the robotic thing is just like, oh, by the way, you're doing all this. We're also going to reduce your pay for tampering with the machine. Like, fuck you. We're taking your money.
Exotic butters.
Take these exotic butters instead. But yeah, no, like
exotic butters.
Like genuinely, like with everything building up from like all these games and all their stories and like all the little plot points, everything, every little hint, everything he's put in them is also fucking perfect. Like he's put in so much, and yet there's still so much to be revealed, and then like it's amazing how much he's actually been able to put into it.
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's such a big, like I said, empire of just shit everywhere. I wish I was good at Pizzeria Simulator, because honestly, like that game's it's such a joy to like just make your own little thing, and there's so much to be discovered there, like with the lore keeper ending and all that other shit, like just finding all the weird crap and hidden voice lines and all that stuff.
I reckon if he did cap it off with Ultimate Custom Night and then didn't make the Freddy Files or whatever the fuck they call the mini stories. No, that's Freddy Files is something different. Like the little novella stories. Fazbear Frights, yeah. If he just made the original trilogy of the novels and then finished it off with Ultimate Custom Night, then that would have been a perfect wrap to the series.
Well, I think, and you know what? I actually think in a way, he did. Because that was the end of Scott doing things by himself.
True.
Like that. And
since
if
then,
you want, you could totally look at that as his wrap up. Because in a way, like that's pretty much like that's where it stopped. And because after that was where like the new story, like the whole body snatching stuff has gone on. Like that's like the first era. Like that's a very definitive era of FNAF. From FNAF 1 to Ultimate Custom Night.
You could almost call it like actually true. You could also I kind of feel like it's the second era, because it kind of feels like FNAF 1 to 4 and maybe even Sister Location is its own thing, and then like Pizzeria Simulator and Ultimate Custom Night kind of wrap it up. Yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Like a second era, because that whole thing was all about the Afton family and all that, and it's all kind of tied up now. Up now. End of Pizzeria Simulator, everyone burns, and Ultimate Custom Night is this evil motherfucker's hell. And then from there, new games, new books, all about body snatching, and maybe the animatronics are good this time around. Who knows? The Security Breach really is meant to be it really does appear to be the launch pad of a new era, which, yeah, it's going to be quite intriguing to witness. It will be very interesting to witness. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm keen to see what is made from it. I don't know if I'll ever play any of them personally. I might try and give it a crack. I don't own a PS5, so I know Security Breach will be a bit out of the depths for me. But I'm definitely considering getting the first 4 games on the Switch. I think that would be good.
Yeah, I'm hoping Security Breach doesn't take a fuck ton to play, because I might try to play it on my computer, because, I mean, it's still a FNAF game. Hopefully it doesn't require a PS5 to run, because if it does, I'm fucked. But, like, I'm still kind of hoping I can get that on my computer, because I really do want to play it. But, man, like, just, what a journey, right? What a journey it's been. It's just watching it grow from nothing.
FNAF has always been one of those things kind of just like happening in the background for me. It's never been one of those things that I like properly got into, but it's always been really cool to to witness, and really cool to, like, even in the smallest parts, only completing Sister Location. Like, the minor ways I've delved into it, and then like watched all the supplemental material from like MatPat, who the fuck knows how much he actually knows. He seems to have debunked and figured out quite a lot of it. But like just witnessing it grow from one game, one small ass motherfucking terrifying game with a fox running down a hallway being the freakiest thing to me. All that to where we are now it's incredible. We're wrapping it up, and Scott Cawthon has done an amazing job. Applause to him, and
definitely.
I don't think, unless something properly major happens to properly affect his everyone's point of view about him, like this isn't everything that's been happening recently. Fuck off. That's not. It's not even like, and out of what everything anyone could do, this is nothing. Like, it's ridiculous that the overreaction of people has been fucked. But even though, I do feel like that's contributed to his retirement, I am happy that he's deciding to focus on his family. Totally. That without a doubt. I'm happy he's deciding to focus on himself, his family, and good on him. And I know he will never watch this or listen to this, but best of luck to Scott Cawthon and all his future endeavors. I'm not a WWE release.
Future endeavors.
I'm not releasing talent.
Raising his children. Poor guy.
The thing is, what gets me as well is actually, unless you send him. Well, unless you know his PO box and send him letters, because a lot of people have sent him stuff, and especially now that apparently he's been doxxed. The thing that I have appreciated is that he has been rather vague. Like the most communication he gave to the community was throughout the development of Ultimate Custom Night. The last thing on his official YouTube channel is the first trailer for Sister Location. He hasn't uploaded anything else since then. And his Twitter, the only thing... He made a Twitter so no one else would take it and claim to be him. The only thing on his Twitter was a picture of, I think, when the movie was originally being made by Blumberg in, 2017. Yeah. It's just a picture of a chair that says director or something like that. That's it. He's not online, at all. Even with the Steam community posts, I don't see him, I can't even fucking find him. But he might have been active on Reddit for a while, I don't know, I'm not a fan of Reddit. But, he's barely online, and he's just doing his thing. And it's fucking incredible to witness, and I'm proud of him and what he's been able to achieve. He achieved the American dream by creating creepy Chuck E. Cheese animatronics that were going to fucking haunt my nightmares.
Bro, fuck Chuck E. Cheese. There's one down the road. I'm I've thought about bringing my friends there. My friends don't want to go. I want to go though, so I can jump on the stage and get a right hook to Chuck E. Cheese's jaw.
You need to jump on the stage and upstage him by grabbing his microphone and start singing Crossing Field or something.
Let's go. You idiot! No, I'm just kidding. The last thing I want to say before we end this, FNAF World was fun. All right, goodbye.
There you go. Thank you, everyone, for listening. We hope you are at least civilized about everything, because
maybe the most offensive thing I've said so far is FNAF World is fun, but it is fun. Fuck all of you guys. It is fun.
It genuinely does look fun. I hope everyone's civil about everything, and I would say go give Scott Cawthon all the best, go wish him all the best, but literally his last update was on his website and you can't comment on that. So there has been the hashtag.
You can
if
you do it on Twitter or whatever. Post it on your Twitter.
There has been the hashtag thank you Scott going around, which we'll probably put in the hashtag of this as well. But yeah, if you're a fan of FNAF and stick along with the projects, who knows how things go in the future, but this isn't the end of Five Nights at Freddy's. And just don't dox him. Don't go threaten him and his family. He's got he is allowed to have his opinions, and you're allowed to have yours. Just don't be violent. Don't be dicks.
Right.
Be literally just end the message off with, "Be kind. Don't be a dick."
You do like that one.
I like "Don't be a dick." That's my favorite quote. I made it. Trademark. Don't be a dick. Thank you anyway for listening. We either on YouTube or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, for future topics, for future album reviews, anime reviews, anything like that, leave it in the comments down below or send us an email at firestormproductions2@gmail.com. Follow us at Twitter at FireStormPod or our individual Twitters, Silverstorm100 for Gus and TrentJM27 for myself.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for joining us. Have a good one, guys.
Man, I'd fuck Foxy.